And we're back. Welcome to the Ball and Man podcast, episode 7. I'm your host, Remy, the man with the ball. And do I know ball? That is basically what this podcast is about. Me talking ball and talking politics and various other stuff. Sometimes I get a guest on, my girlfriend, maybe some other guests. Hopefully more guests, hopefully more hosts, co-hosts. I have big plans for Ball and Man, and they may have stalled in the past month or so as I've just been busy. But we are always striving for more. The World Cup, it is underway, well underway. But yeah, of course, this World Cup has been crazy as predicted. If you don't know, this podcast used to be called Keep Politics Out of Football. I changed the name because I thought it was a bit too antagonistic. But the whole premise of this podcast and what I want to talk to people about is the link between football and politics. And it's so hilarious that it's come to fruition in such a blatant way. The way that the USA are using the World Cup to kind of sports wash its image, but also try and dominate football and claim that this is the best World Cup ever, and try and commandeer football, as football is such a bustling and lucrative business. Of course, America wants in. So yeah, it's kind of like weird, but at the same time, it has been a great World Cup. People had their suspicions about this many teams being in the World Cup, some teams playing their first World Cup in their history, but I can't lie, it's added to the drama, it's added to the diversity of the teams. I was in Marseille watching the Cape Verde Spain game, and I didn't know there were so many Cape Verdeans in Marseille. It was amazing just to be with them and kind of like rooting for Cape Verde. Obviously, I wanted to see goals. I wanted to see beautiful football. But come the end of it, I was so happy that it was 0-0. And yeah, it was credible. They had this chant. I don't know if it's like a universal thing, but it was like ooh 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 ah, ooh 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 ah. Can't lie, it gassed me up. But yeah, shout out to the Cape Verde fans. They got knocked out, but they put up a good fight against Argentina, man. Wow. Just the scenes. Incredible celebration. Scoring a worldie against Argentina and running straight to your missus. I feel you, bro. I feel you. Man. Shout out to all the women out there. We love you. We appreciate you. Even our greatest moments, we still think of you. Number one. But yeah, Cape Verde, shout out to Cape Verde. Who else did I really enjoy in the World Cup so far that got knocked out? I think all the teams that I really liked are still in. Japan put up a good fight against Brazil. But yeah, I think it's been spoken about. Some of the teams, particularly the Asian teams, couldn't quite match up physically with some of the other teams. And the Premier League and the way that the Premier League has developed over the past 10 years to be an extremely physical league. I think that's why there are so many Premier League players playing at the World Cup and dominating it. I think it's Real Madrid's got the most goals scored, but then it's Arsenal and like a lot of other Premier League teams as well. So the Premier League is dominating the World Cup. Arsenal are dominating the World Cup. They're saying that an Arsenal player is guaranteed to win the World Cup, but I don't think that's true because Switzerland and Argentina, or maybe they mean like ex-Arsenal because there's Martinez and there's Xhaka. But anyway, it's crazy. It's really crazy. So of course we have to talk about the whole following Balogun, Trump and Infantino situation. Quickly from the top, basically I watched the game live. It was a harsh red card. He didn't mean it. It's one of those things where like he has to land somewhere. He didn't mean to land on the guy. You maybe use common sense and don't give a red card for that, or maybe just rescind the red card in a normal way. But the fact that the red card was given, they weren't going to rescind it, and then supposedly Trump called Infantino, and suddenly a committee decided to suspend the red card, not rescind, not get rid of the red card, just suspend it for a year. So at one point next year, he will serve that suspension, which is, to me, unheard of. Apparently, it has happened in the past in certain cases, which also seem dodgy, if you don't mind me saying. But that is where it was. And he played in the game against Belgium, and the USA got spanked. So it was all for nothing. But I think what the whole thing showed, especially because Trump was so brazen with what he was saying about how, yeah, I just thought it was unjust. So I called Infantino, my good mate Gianni, and he sorted it out. Oh, it was a committee, but yeah, the fact that he's just so flippantly saying that, yeah, I kind of like rigged it in our favor, but it was unjust anyway, is a blatant showing of how football is quite corrupt, but so intertwined with politics, and how this World Cup has kind of just been, a puppet show for Trump. They're rolling out stars. They got Justin Bieber, Shakira, and BTS performing at the final halftime show. But what I just want to ask is, what's that got to do with football? These hydration breaks. Yeah, in some cases, for sure, it's hot. These players need water. However, surely you apply that with discretion. If it doesn't need that, then we play through. But no, it's mandated. Mandated because there's ad breaks? Potentially. Now, this is why we just need to ask more questions of FIFA and question their motives, especially when you consider how seemingly corrupt they are. I say seemingly because I'm trying to avoid any liable stuff. Alleged. This is all alleged corruption. Although there maybe have been documentaries showing actual corruption in FIFA. And actually, that's the thing as well. Like, they've even got Sepp Blatter and stuff calling out the corruption in FIFA now. It's like, damn, it's like Grindelwald and Voldemort. Yeah, maybe that was too much of a nerdy reference. Shout out to the Apart fans though. This is a great podcast. You get a bit of everything. So yeah, Infantino and FIFA up to no good. The hydration breaks / ad breaks, making football into 4 quarters like basketball. I don't know how we feel, but like I said, it has been a good World Cup. So can we really complain? That's the thing about America. They are quite annoying, but they still got the stuff sometimes. Anyway, do I think England can win the World Cup? Yeah, I believed before the tournament, and the game against Mexico just confirmed what I really believed. Deep down, just deep down, I believed that this team had something. It's just the characters that you have in this team, and as I've gotten older and become more of a man, more of my own person, have my own values, things that I respect and don't respect in people, as a football fan, that has also changed the way I see players and what I value in players. Because if I'm applying that same sort of level of respect as a man, as a human being, when it comes to football, there's certain things that I now respect a little bit more, and that is that responsibility, that character. And England have more of those players than any other country. And that is ultimately why, and it's an intangible thing, that's why you can't really measure it and get stats from it. And that's why people don't really speak about England as being favourites. But when it comes to characters that you want to get you over the line, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka. For England, Jordan Pickford. These guys, you know what? Yeah. I'll back these lads against anyone. Just of pure great determination. And I must say, for England, some players are impressing me just with their desire. Just sheer desire. Anthony Gordon against Mexico. Wow. For me, that was very inspiring because I'm 28. I still play football a lot, but I'm not going to get any better technically. Let's face it. But Gordon inspired me. You know what? Forget the tech. You can just put a shift in and be invaluable for your team. And that is what I endeavour to do. Because of you, Anthony Gordon. Because of you. But even people like Jed Spence, who, yeah, on TikTok I said I didn't rate him and I thought he was bad against Congo. But against Mexico, the desire, the passion, I just can't help but rate it. And I think England, because of that Premier League toughness, that physicality, plus the stardust with Jude and Harry Kane, I can't lie, put us in a final, I can just back it. Plus, now we have Thomas Tuchel, a manager that has a brain that knows how to use it. No offense to Southgate, but because Southgate did a great job. But on a footballing level, England are also going into the World Cup having the best manager at the World Cup. We have the best manager at the World Cup, plus one of the best squads. How can you not give us a chance if we get to the final? It's looking like we might have to play Argentina on the way to the final. Norway is not an easy team, but I back England against Norway. Norway have been good to get this far. Haaland pretty much carrying them on their back in the last game, but Odegaard's done a good job for his rep. Hopefully we can get a good price for him, or he can get his confidence back. Either way, we can win from the situation. But of course, Haaland has done Haaland things, and put a few goals on his World Cup tally, and I'm sure he'll be there next time to add more. But Norway's journey ends here. England are going through, and they're playing against Argentina, and that is when I think England will show the world that they're ready. I think they're gonna just bop Argentina. Norway is gonna be a harder game than Argentina. England are gonna arrive against Argentina and come into the final against France with confidence, with a tactical understanding of their teammates and their manager, and I believe it's coming home. Anyway, let me stop dreaming. My World Cup hot take, or not a hot take really, but something that I've noticed about the World Cup that I did want to mention is how a lot of things are being framed through a racial lens. Whether it's players that could play for one country but play for another, what the team looks like, how black they are, how white they are, everything is about race. People talking about colonization, everything. There's a kind of an undercurrent of a nastiness, not to mention the number of players that are actually accused of doing the mad thing themselves. You know what I'm saying? So this World Cup kind of reeks. It kind of has got a little stench on it. Honestly, I just wish that the world was a bit nicer. And you would think or like to hope that one day in the future, people will be watching a World Cup, enjoying football, and not have it go to a place of race, of colonization, of immigration, of all of this stuff, public statements. I just want to enjoy the football when it's time for the football. Of course, we can always have that conversation outside of football, off the pitch. But at the World Cup, it's a disgrace that Mbappe has to deal with this. Mbappe is the best player at the World Cup. He should be locked in. He should be trying to win the World Cup for his nation. But instead, he's having to fire back to racist senators from the countries that he's beaten. Do you know how mad that is? How is that fair? And this is what I mean. This is what black players have to go through. It's always the extra rigmarole, the extra stuff, and yet you still deliver on the pitch, and it's never spoken about. Of course, everyone has their drama. The media are not nice to anyone. But having to deal with people that don't even like your existence, that call you all kinds of crazy names, and you still find a way to win, it's crazy. You got content creators like Speed at the games, and he's getting racially abused. And at this World Cup, as much as I've enjoyed it, I can't help but think, if I look to my right, I see racism and abuse. If I look to my left, I see violence against women and girls and all kinds of accusations for players that are actually at the World Cup. I look up, I see corruption between Trump and Infantino and FIFA and the Board of Peace. I look down below, I see fans that are priced out of tickets because they're like in the thousands of dollars. So I've enjoyed the football. I've enjoyed some of the runs from teams like Cape Verde. But at the same time, I'm a bit like, what's that smell? What is that? Corruption. The game's gone. Ugh. Let's cover a bit of transfer news at the moment. Bruno Guimaraes has told Newcastle that he wants to leave and join Arsenal. It's funny that because then he want to come. It's funny that because he's made it his personal mission to injure Arsenal players whenever he's played against them. But it's funny how it goes, isn't it? And now that I think about it, Bruno G is really like that kid in primary school that had a crush on a girl and couldn't process his emotions, so would like be mean to her and like pinch her and punch her. But secretly he liked her. Aww, Bruno G, you liked us all along. Aww, well, you finally get your happy ending as it's looking like you're coming to Arsenal for about what I reckon it's going to be about 85 mil. Arsenal are saying 60, Newcastle are saying 100. It's going to be about 80 to 85 in there with the add-ons and all of that jazz. But Bruno D to Arsenal, we're going to be very rugged. Him and Rice in midfield, it could be long for the Premier League. Who else has made a move? Andre Santos has gone to United, 50 mil. Chelsea always churning out these big deals. 50 mil for a player that hasn't really tore the ground up. Good business. But then United also getting a player that's got a lot of upside because there's definitely a lot more to come from him. So who knows? Let's hope Carrick knows what he's doing. I almost screamed. I almost screamed from a fake tweet. Looking like Ornstein, but it wasn't Ornstein. Trying to say that Arsenal are going for Garnacho. If Arsenal went for Garnacho, it's not about what I would do. I just know the fan base would literally melt down. And rightly so. That would be the last straw. Winning the league and then signing Garnacho would be like cause for riots. We burn the place to the ground. That's low-key my favorite. Clip from this World Cup is if Jude is banned, if they don't allow Jude to play, or Jude's not allowed to play, whatever, we burn it to the ground. And that's what I mean. This is the British mentality. If Jude is not allowed to play, we burn it to the ground. This is England. We burn it to the ground. This is the British way. This is why England are going to win the World Cup. We need to have more of this on TV. I'm joking, but am I joking? I'm too funny. Anyway, you may have seen football's new heartthrob is Nigeria's goalkeeper, which is funny because Nigeria didn't even qualify for this World Cup. Imagine that. He's at Fashion Week. It's just mad. But yeah, football is crazy. I saw a tweet and it said, "Life's too funny, man. This is Udinese's goalie." And it's true. Like, how do women know about Udinese's goalkeeper? Like, that's so niche. Like, it's crazy to think. But yeah, I feel like the world is a simulation and he keeps throwing out random stuff now. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a show on Netflix or something. And it's just crazy. What do you know about Udinese? What do you know about the links to Watford? Is that the links to Watford? Yeah. Wait. If he's smart, he gets a move to Watford. Well, that wouldn't do much for him. But if he gets to the Premier League somehow, like if he does a year in the Champs, then comes to the Prem, yeah, that's a good PR move for him still. But yeah, I'm not his agent, so that's on him. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The Mexico coach, Javier Aguirre, I can't lie, he's a joke, man. He asked for Bellingham's shirt and then literally like seconds later, he's like, "Gordon, fuck you." I can tell by the fact that he laughed straight away that he's a veteran. He's a veteran wind-up merchant. Because you laugh straight away to diffuse any anger. It's like, I'm annoying you, but I'm laughing. You don't want to. I'm just joking. I know bull. Trust me, wind-up merchant. So although Arsenal are linked to Bruno G, the only player we've actually signed this summer is Ilan Melier, who I don't particularly rate. Ilan Melier, when he first came on the scene, yeah, I kind of rated him. Young French keeper, Leeds. Okay, that Leeds team, when they had Ben White and all of that, like that was, yeah, vibey. But then since then, he's gone on to be shocking keeper, made some horrible mistakes. But he's coming to be the third keeper. Is it that bad? Yeah, whatever. Arsenal fans always complaining, yada, yada, yada. But one thing I will say, though, is that do we think he'll make an appearance? Do we think Meslier will make an appearance for Arsenal? Do you think he signed for Arsenal knowing that he's not going to make an appearance? Or do you think they've said to him, yeah, you might play the odd game here and there, Carabao Cup? If the answer is yes, if you think that he's going to play, then isn't that very scary to think that Meslier one day will be wearing the Arsenal kit on the pitch, playing for Arsenal, trying to stop the ball going into our net? No matter the stakes, no matter the game, that's just a bit of a scary thought, isn't it? But anyway, let me not be an annoying, negative fan. Yay. Meslier. Shout out to my guy, Liam Messinio. They laughed at you. They giggled at you. But look, you've had 3 good jobs in a space of a year, bro. 2 Ligue 1 teams and the Premier League team, Chelsea at that. Now you've got a job at Paris FC. Hey man, you're gonna love Paris. Go to Gumbo Yaya. I just know in a few months' time I'm gonna see like a TikTok saying like Liam Rosinia's revolution at Paris FC, how he's transformed this young crop of talent into Ligue 1's brightest stars. I just know it's coming. Don't say I didn't warn you. Liam Rosinia's gonna cook at Paris FC. Oh, and Krusty. Try some Krusty, you're gonna love it. Hey, I wonder if Liam Rossinia was at Fête de la Musique. Oh man, that was fun. It was actually a great time. Yeah, I saw a lot of football tops out there. I saw a lot of Arsenal tops actually. It was good to see Arsenal being wrapped in full force in Paris. I saw a very very cool Russia shirt, like a wine red color, Arshavin on the back, gold lettering. Oh, it was beautiful. But yeah, I love seeing the football fans of other countries and seeing people and like what shirts people wear. I saw a lot of French shirts out there, and I can't lie, the 2 names that I saw on most shirts were either Barcola or Doué. Doué and Barcola got the most love in the streets, can't lie. Obviously, kids had Mbappe shirts and stuff, but most people that I saw wearing France kits, it was Barcola or Doué. Yeah. Speaking of Fête de la Musique, I was watching the Mexico game in Streatham with my sister, Marianne, my girlfriend, and my friend Paris. And after the game finished, it was like 5 a.m. We're getting a bus back, and just seeing so many people out, and I was like, and cars were like honking their horns and stuff, and it kind of reminded me of when Arsenal won the league, and it was like crazy in Holloway Road. But it made me think the closest that London will get to a Fête de la Musique thing of a citywide party atmosphere is if England win the World Cup. Oh yeah, that's why I wanted to speak about the whole question about should you support England if you're black and British. Let's talk about it. I hear what people are saying because this country's atmosphere isn't the best at the moment and hasn't been for a long time. And a lot of people don't feel welcome. And we can't just erase that through football. Like, there are people blatantly and openly saying racist stuff. They wanted to melt Nigerian people and put them in potholes just the other day. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're sending the Windrush generation back. Like, they're burning migrant hotels. Like, these people, in the majority, unfortunately, like, if you look at the rise of reform, look at the people that voted Brexit, these people are the silent, maybe not so silent anymore, majority. And so I can totally empathize and understand why someone who's black in Britain or brown in Britain or from wherever doesn't feel like supporting England, supporting a flag that is being used to attack people. Totally get it. I think the nuance comes in for me as a football fan because I am a football fan of the highest order. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really care about football. So I think my support of England does come from a sort of patriotism, but more so of a football patriotism. I am not being patriotic of the flag and England and God Save the King and stuff. It's more like these are our players that represent us and our way of football and our way of life, because ultimately football is our way of life. Um, which is crazy to say, but it is. It's true. And so I support England because I play football in England. I have played on the grounds of England, in Sussex, in London, in schools, in uni, in like, do you know what I mean, amateur leagues and in five-a-sides and power leagues, like, and the way that I play football and the way I understand football is definitely English. There is an English way of playing, a more physical way of playing, perhaps a more direct way of playing, perhaps, and that bears out in the way that England play and the kind of players that we produce. Jude Bellingham is that player that is so clutch, so just inevitable, so reliable, so courageous, because that is the epitome of the British style of football, the all-action midfielder, the Steven Gerrard, the Frank Lampard. That is what it's about, right? In so many ways, it means more. Rashford is that kid from Manchester. Saka is that kid from London. Do you know what I mean? Gordon, like, all these people represent the nation and represent us. And without the context of the football understanding, I can understand why you might not see that and just see like people supporting England and thinking like, oh, you guys are looking a bit weird. But actually, there's more to it that meets the eye. But yeah, and it goes to show like even some of the players, they are getting more into the like whole Wonderwall renditions after the games, and it's good to see. But like you can tell when they're playing the anthem and they're singing the God Save the King, like their heart's not in that as much as it is in the Wonderwall. And the Wonderwall is the unity, you know, it's the coming together, it's the confidence, it's, you know, the Britishness, not the God Save the King, like the flag, like, do you know what I mean? And I do like that, you know, the English team is kind of embracing more of the unofficial unity rather than uniting behind the anthem or the flag. And yeah, going back to my original point, it's actually in everyone's interest, regardless of whether you care about, you know, supporting England or not, or holding England and Britain accountable to their colonial past and very xenophobic present. It benefits everyone if England won the World Cup, because I think the vibes will be 10-10. It's going to be like Fête de la Musique in London if England win the World Cup. Parties everywhere. And no one will care. Because for that one day, maybe that person won't complain. That NIMBY, that Fed, that neighborhood watch person on that day might be so happy themselves that they don't complain and allow people to party and be happy. So I want people to be happier. Therefore, I want England to win the World Cup. How does that sound? Do I hate myself? Let me chill. Seeing as this is the Ball and Man podcast, let's talk about the ball at the World Cup. Some are saying it's kind of Jubilani-esque, where it kind of moves and keepers kind of get a bit wrong-footed by the flight of the ball. It does seem to be moving a bit weird in the air, but definitely not as bad as a Jubilani. But I have a hot take when it comes to the ball. I think that, well, I don't know how it'll work with the like copyright or who owns what, but seeing as we don't get the stars on the Champions League ball anymore because Adidas own the rights to the stars, so we don't get the stars on the Champions League ball, they should bring it to the World Cup. Or at least until Adidas get the rights back to Champions League. But I want to see stars on the ball. And if we're not getting it at the Champions League, then bring it to the World Cup, man. And that, because the Champions League balls are always good. No one's ever complained about Champions League ball. I don't think I've ever heard a complaint about Champions League ball. Have you? Have you? Let me know in the comments right now if you've heard a complaint about the Champions League ball being weird and keepers complaining about it. I think that star design that Adidas got for the Champions League ball works. Why not use it for the World Cup and not some weird design that keepers obviously always complain about? So that's why my hot take is bring the stars to the World Cup ball for next World Cup. Adidas, are you hearing me? Okay. But yeah, on to the last topic today. Let's talk politics. Let's talk politics and Andy Burnham. I think in a previous episode we might have mentioned Andy Burnham and his ties to this working class northern culture that is often tied to football, and he was running in a football shirt and stuff like that, and he's a Everton season ticket holder, and he's he's one of us, one of the lads thing. Well, he's going to be the Prime Minister in a couple of weeks. 20th of July, it's looking like he's going to be made PM, which is crazy. And I do think that part of the reason why he is so unanimously supported within the Labour Party to be the leader of the Labour Party is because they see him as the only person within their party that could combat reform and, the rise of the further right parties and their support in parts of England where there are a lot of unemployment, a lot of disgruntled white working class people. But Labour see Andy as the person that could maybe speak to them the most from their party. And I do think that some of that does need to be put to this football image and this relation to football and this idea of Andy Burnham as a normal working fellow. Going to Everton games gives him the credibility to speak about football, to relate to the people that he needs to win over in this country. Going on runs in football tops will win people over, whether they know it consciously or not. It's making him more likable, more relatable to people that he needs to win over. So Andy Burnham's ties to football can't be understated. And again, football and politics share a very intertwined relationship. And once Andy Burnham does become PM, I do think that we should keep a keen eye on developments in football. There's been a lot of talks about bringing a public regulator into football, notably Gary Neville, a fellow Mancunian. So watch out for that and developments in that area. Also in investment in grassroots football and especially the northern part of the country and using that as a hub for growth and, the love of football in these areas, using that as a way to generate new jobs, new life in the community. I think it could be a great way. And if he really is a football fan, as he says, then maybe that's something that's on his mind. But yeah, let's see. Maybe I should get a job working for him because I've got the strategy. Let me not say too much. But yeah, what do you think about Andy Burnham becoming the PM? Do you think Keir Starmer was right to go? As an Arsenal fan, he did his job. He was the PM. Arsenal won the league. The weather's been great. Can't lie here. Mission accomplished. But yeah, I don't know. I think how it all ended and how it's unfolding now is a bit strange and a bit flat. We don't seem to have any real answers or real accountability for things that have happened. Things are just kind of moving on. He's resigned. Andy Burnham's coming in. That's happening. And it's kind of just taken over. And no one's angry anymore. No one's asking questions anymore. What about Mandelson? What about, the defense budget? What's going on? Why is it just okay, he's going to leave and when they get someone else in and business as usual, we're never going to get any further and actually get better as a society and, actually do things and be impactful and reach people that we need to reach and help the people that we need to help, etc. If we're just passing the buck and it's oh, I failed, someone else will come in. Oh, yeah, it didn't work out. Oh, yeah, and I'm not saying that Keir Starmer needs to, face trial, but more so, we need to understand the decision-making over the past 2 years. Understand where things are and how it's got to this point. And that's because we need to understand what's coming. We need to understand what's in store for Andy Burnham and in store for the country. I don't think we get those answers without honest conversations from Keir Starmer. It would be nice to have someone with a strong political compass. I hope Andy Burnham is that person, but it remains to be seen because people lie, numbers don't. So let's count the votes when they get called. Anyway, this has been Ball and Man episode 7. I've been your host, Remy, aka the Pastry Boy. Follow, subscribe, hype, support in any way you can. I'm also running the big half in September. I'm fundraising, so find me on socials and you'll find the links to support. But yeah, until next time, peace. Boom.